Here's a quick nugget of truth. Until a certain truth is not recognized through direct revelation or through direct experience, which is one and the same, we can stay and try to analyze and debunk a certain issue for eternity. And we are going to look for eternity into a certain topic, into a certain thing, and we are not going to fully understand it, nor recognize the truth of its nature, its functionality. We will have zero true comprehension about it. So, truth can only be a direct experience. It's a revelation, an evidence, and an experience all together that happen in the moment. And it's a sort of, it's something that the grace and the beauty in it is like we cannot provoke it. There is nothing that us from our character level can do to provoke a moment of revelation. The revelation is given. Revelation is granted. Revelation comes to us. What we can do is to prepare the ground, to prepare ourselves somehow for, let's say, to fertilize this ground that we are, let's say, to make it more fertile for these revelations, let's say, to occur. This is what we can do. But we can never truly provoke a moment of revelation. We can stay and pray to God for eternity. God, please give me a sign, Father, talk to me. And it just might not happen. Again, what we can do is to prepare the ground, to make it fertile. And that's another topic, how we do that. It's another topic. So, until the revelation is given, and we have the direct experience of a certain truth, it's like we are left in this bare lens of comprehension. We can never truly comprehend it. We can look around it. It's like studying something which you don't see, but you don't see the source of it, you only see the effects of it. And then you look at the effects of that thing, and then you study the effects and you say, oh, that thing is this, because it creates this effect. Oh, that thing is this other thing because it creates this other effect. So this is how in almost all areas of our lives we've just grown accustomed to argue about what a thing is by studying its effects. Physicists have been looking at reality and describing reality and the nature of reality by studying what they could observe with their senses, with their five senses, the materialists, right? Then once technology was invented and they could, go down and study, the microcosmos, at the atomic level, they started to we have quantum physics emerge, because now you saw something different, a different effect. And now you are able to describe it through a different system, through a different mentality. But again, they were looking at the effects of reality and not exactly at what reality truly is. So then you have physicists, materialists, then you have quantum physics, then you have biology, then you have astronomy, astrology, then you have chemistry, then you have, all the sciences of the world. They have been in a religion, right? Spirituality. You have all the sciences of the world constantly debating endlessly what reality is. But the thing is that what they are missing to see is the truth of what reality is, because they are just looking at the effects of reality and not directly at reality. In order to understand reality, we have to be able to look into the real, to look into reality rather than the effects, the displayed, manifested effects of this reality. So we have to get to see the cause that is creating our reality rather than continually trying to, sniff the ass of the manifested effects of reality. So we can try to remain caught up here in the effects of reality for eternity, trying to think that we can study or understand anything of reality by studying the effects that this prime reality, prime cause creates as visible, manifested or invisible reality. Because the energetic realm, by the way, what we call the energetic realm, is just the same type of effects, the same type of manifestation from the same cause, from the same primal reality, primal cause, which is the cause that then creates everything that we experience, visible and invisible, physical or energetic. So we can stay here for eternities trying to, relate to these effects of this reality and trying to understand, trying to think that we could ever understand the cause, the holistic, the whole, by studying the parts. But that's an endless, unfruitful journey. It is never going to yield the knowledge that we seek for. It is never going to yield the experience of reality, because if we only look at the effects of reality, it's like looking at, those shadows in Plato's myth of the cave projected on the wall. If we only look at the shadows, which is the effects of this reality, then we are never going to comprehend reality. That's if we want to comprehend reality. Maybe we don't want to comprehend reality, and that's another topic. No one says we have to be interested in reality, and no one says it's mandatory that we are to be interested in understanding the truth of reality. But we could just simply enjoy the effects of it, No one says we have to understand the core, the true real, the true cause, the primal cause that creates reality. We could just take a seat in the cinema and enjoy the ride, enjoy the movie. But that's the thing. If we say to others or to ourselves, oh, I'm interested in the truth, I want to know the nature of reality. So if we say that, if we express that intent out loud to ourselves or to others or to the world, and we want to be taken seriously, and we say we are serious about the intent, then if we are serious about wanting to know the truth, wanting to know the reality and the nature of reality, then we have to move away from, we have to take our nose out of the ass of the cinema, of these effects, and try to look into the other direction, try to look into another direction, try to liberate first our senses of perception from the world of effects, right? If we want the cause to reveal itself to us, as I said, it can only be a revelation that comes from outside, in a way, from the cause itself. But if we want to prepare for that revelation, then in preparation for that revelation, how we make our ground fertile for that revelation to come, we first need to take our eyes away from this immense screen here, this wall in the cave, this cosmic screen which has these effects projected in it. We have to take our eyes, and when I say eyes, of course I'm not meaning the physical eyes, I'm meaning our internal true eye, the eye of our awareness. Somehow we have to be able to detach our awareness from the manifestations of this entire cosmic movie that we see with our eyes, senses, and so on. So we have to for some time, we have to detach our awareness, we have to take our eye away from the effects in order to possibly be able to comprehend the cause. It's similar in Plato's myth of the cave, the guys that were chained and made to only view the wall. In order to see the cause that creates the images on the wall, they had to be able to somehow move their head from the wall and on the opposite direction, in that case, where in their back there was the fire and the men's moving the silhouettes, the shapes. So of course, if they would have continued to look at the shadows projected on the wall, they would have never been able to see the fire, and the silhouettes and the exit, the cave exit, which was even further back, away in the back, behind the fire. So if we say, that's the thing, if we say we are interested in the truth, if we declare that this is our intention, oh, I'm interested in knowing the nature of reality, oh, I want to know the truth, then if we say that and we mean it, then the first thing is to find a way to detach our awareness from the world of effects, from this cosmic movie, from this cosmic cinema. Again, it's might not be mandatory that we want to know the truth. Maybe we are just kidding ourselves, Maybe we just, this is the trend right now. Everybody, is interested in spirituality and says it wants to know the truth. But at our core, maybe in our hearts, we are not even prepared 1 ounce for meeting that truth. And maybe we just adopted this thing because, either it just sounds right, because it sounds right? It just sounds right, but truly, if we would be honest with ourselves, we might have said that we have no preparation for what that truly means. And secondly, we might have just felt like left behind, It's like, oh, what do those guys there they say they are interested in this truth? What are they doing there? Maybe if I don't get interested myself, I'll be losing something or I'll be left behind, So many people, they come to these ideas by the way of spirituality and even the truth, seeking the truth from all sorts of reasons which are not like that burning fire, like that thirst, that never quenches until you finally find it. It's like either you had this in yourself from, even since childhood, even since forever, that burning fire of knowing. It's like, no, I have to know. It's just, I have to know who I am. I have to know what the heck is this world. It's like if that fire doesn't burn you within, if that thirst doesn't become excruciatingly, let's say, painful, and it seems like never quenching within, and you have to know. It's like that's the level of determination. It's like when you are able to sacrifice your own life for the truth. When you're like, I mean literally be able to put your life on the line for truth. If one doesn't have this level of burning intent within it, being able to give up everything for the truth, then in my opinion, and through what I've experienced so far, there is never going to be the fertile ground created for that truth to be revealed. This is how we have to meet the truth, with the totality of what we are. Because truth is totality. So how can you meet a totality if not with the totality of what you are? Because if you do not meet the totality with your totality, you'll be unable to ever comprehend it. If you try to relate to the totality as just a part, oh, I'm interested in the truth, but I'll just give it this percentage of myself. Yeah, and in the rest time I'll be interested in that and that and that. And truth, yeah, it's there, it's interesting, it's for sure, it's the most prior on my list, man. But still, there is just a part of you that wants it, When the entirety is ready for the truth is here to meet us. But we have to meet it from the entirety of what we are, because the truth is an entirety in itself. It is the primal cause, it is the uncaused cause, the unmoved mover, described by Aristotle, which creates the entirety of the world. So that's the truth. That's the truth. Anything less is just a story, is just another level of a story, another effect created by that truth. So unless we are able to see the truth of existence for ourselves and have that revelation, even if it's, let's say, because that revelation, of course, it can come in degrees. I don't believe that anybody, in a way, there might be people out there who have managed to do this across history, but right now I don't feel that there is a being in reality right now that is able to to meet the truth in its entirety at once. And all of us, we are just learning to prepare the ground more and more, and we are given hints, graduations of that truth. So I'm not saying that like ideally we would be able to give ourselves entirely at once and have the revelation entirety at once. And I believe it is possible, like for sure it is possible, because I had a sort of like a glimpse of this. I know it can be done, but it requires everything. It requires total sacrifice. And the thing is that there is so much resistance still within us towards this truth that we cannot, it's like we are just, we don't have the level enough of determination to give ourselves completely, to sacrifice instantly. In one moment, it just requires an instant. You don't require years of meditation. It's just an instant. You can decide right now to do it. And it's there, ready to meet you. The entirety is ready to meet you and to reveal itself to you. But it's like, we are so caught up still in the world of effects, we are so addicted to it, and we are still so resistant towards the nature of reality and to the true revelation of everything. And this is the resistance, which on one side of the coin it's resistance towards the truth, and then on the other side of the coin is attachment and desire and pleasure for the illusion. And this formula, pleasure for the illusion and resistance towards the truth, is just still keeping us away from this revelation and from the revelation, the total revelation of the nature of reality, of the nature of the self, and of the truth. So, but until we start having, let's say, even in graduations, okay, because, okay, we might not be ready to have the entire revelation experienced, okay, but let's say we might have learned, or we might know instinctually how to, open ourselves, sacrifice a bit of ourselves, and in those portions, or in those, let's say, moments when we were able to sacrifice, to be, fully empty, so that this truth can show a bit of itself to us, And now let's say we had some revelations during our life. It might not have been the total revelation, but we had some revelations through experiences of truth. Because this is what the true truth, again I reiterate, the true truth can only be a revelation, can only be an experience. So any truth that is just figured out by mind or intuition or whatever, but it is not embodied knowledge, experiential revelation, experience of truth, you have to have the experience of a thing. So if a thing that is coming through any other sorts of means, then direct revelation, direct evidence, direct experience, then it's again a fabulation existing in this world of effects. It's just an idea, it's just a intuition, even imagination perhaps. Because these things, like we have to say it, like our imaginations and our intuitions, they come from the same world of effects. Where do they come from? Well, ask yourself, where is your intuition? Where was your intuition 10 minutes ago when you didn't have that intuition? It comes and it goes, similar to how an emotion comes and goes, similar to how a sensation in the body comes and goes. Where was your imagination, 1 month ago when you didn't have that imagination? So our imaginations and intuitions, even though they are more profound, let's say, they still come from the world of effects. The thing is that truth is something which is always so. It's always available, it's always unchanging. It's an absolute. Truth is absolute, never changes. So when we have a revelation, the property of a revelation of truth is that you understand it is a quintessential understanding that never changes. It's always like that. It never changes. It doesn't come and go. Once it was understood and revealed, you see that it was always like that, all throughout time and space and all experiences, and it is never changing. You cannot, it's like if you have an intuition like, I just had that intuition that that thing is like that, or that thing will happen, or that thing, that person, that other thing is like that. But then you can have, I have another intuition, and now I think it's like that now. It's like it's always changing, Or imaginations, you can imagine, you can go into the astral world and experience things, or into your imagination. You can have, how active imagination. You can do active imagination. You can, from Jung, well, you can interact with the world of your psyche, but it's just, again, it's changing. It's always changing. Even in the astral world, there is always changes. Again, truth is that which never changes. Truth is an absolute reality. So, as some of us, and I believe more of us, we've been given throughout our life access to these glimpses of revelations, to these glimpses of truth. Because I believe truth is always here. It's like nagging at us. It's like, hey, it's like trying to reach everybody. So we've been, let's say, experiencing nuggets of truth, nuggets of revelations. We might have ignored them. We might not have known what happened, We might have thought they are something else. But I believe truth reveals itself to almost anybody. So the thing is that when we start to pay attention to these revelations, when we recognize them for what they are, then we understand that we are able to not only have the revelation of a truth, but then we give it our attention. We let's say gear our entire being towards it. We meet it with reverence. We meet it with attention, focus, real, serious attention. We give it our being, and then we start to comprehend that we put we sync also our mind with our body, with our soul, with that revelation that was given, and then we finally understand it like, oh yeah, that's the truth, And once that sinks in and you see the truth of a thing, again, it is unchanging, and you just had a revelation of reality. You just now own a portion of truth, let's say. You understand a bit of how reality truly works and what truly is. And until one has the revelation of reality, even if it is in a portion, as I said, one can never truly comprehend reality just by looking at the effects of it, as I said. And here there is this, we can have an exemplification. There is this myth, or there is this saying, there is this story. I'm sure that most people which are going to hear the story already know it. But there is this myth or story that when Columbus went to, conquer the Americas, the new earth, the new land, the new world, when the ships, that myth with the ships, they were approaching the shore, and it was said like there were these, indigenous tribe on the shore, and they were seeing waves in the water, waves in the ocean, really big waves, but they weren't seeing the ships because they never saw ships in their lives, And there is this story that they were staying on the shore, and then they were asking, like, yeah, but whoa, it's like, where are these waves coming from? They could see the waves in the water, but they didn't know what was provoking the waves, where were they coming from. And then in the story it is said like a shaman, or the head, the elder of the tribe, just sat for days, and just watched the waves, just watched and looked in the direction of the sea and the ocean. It just stayed there and watched it and watched it and watched it. And at some point he started to see the objects. He started to see the ships that were creating the waves. And then he went to the other folks in the tribe and told them, there are some things hovering on the water, creating the waves. There are some objects on the water approaching us, creating the waves. And then it is said that once this head of the tribe, this shaman, this elder, was able to give them, the revelation of the truth, they started to also see the ships, So this is how they started to see the cause that was creating the effects. And this is a really good analogy for as an exemplification of what I was describing here. It's like, until we see the cause of what's creating our reality, it is futile to continue to look at the effects in manifestation and try to just, stay here and toothpick, oh, I think it's that, man. I think it's like the planets are, moving around the sky. I think it's like a heliocentric model. No, I think it's flat Earth. I think it's like everything we are like geocentric model, and it's like everything, revolves around us. No, I think we revolve around it, right? We can stay here for eternity, man. We can stay here for eternity to think we are figuring it out. But I am telling you my vision of this. I think unless we get really serious about our existence, why do we exist, and the nature of our existence, and we start truly be interested in knowing reality rather than speculating over the effects of reality, we are just remaining at the level of children in a playground, not to say monkeys, scratching heads and, picking up fleas from their skin. Because this is this is the image that I have of us right now, just monkeys, man. We are just like at the level of monkeys, trying to think. That's the error that we are doing. Trying to think that we are able to comprehend the nature of reality just by sniffing, you know, just by sniffing the ass of the effects and just staying with our perception caught up in the world of effects and just emitting theories. Oh, I think it's this. Oh, you think it's that? No, you're wrong and I'm right. Yeah, because see, it's like my model better fits and describes the effects, but then the effects might change in, you know, 10 years, and then your model is gonna become obsolete, you know, and then another one would come which would replace that model that you build with a even enhanced model that would fit the world in like 10 years for now better, and the effects that were observed better. But then that one would become obsolete, and then it's like we always have to patch, you know. You create a system of thought or an explanation or theory right now which doesn't work fully, and you know it, and everybody knows it. Similar to how there is not a single theory of reality that ever was able to explain all the effects of reality. So then you create a theory, a system which works for some time, but then in 10 years in the future it stops working, you know, and you have to patch it, you have to accommodate it, you have to take things out of it, or you have to add things to it. Similar to how, for example, the theory of relativity worked for some time, but then it just became obsolete and they had to remove things from it, and, you know, they have to move to, you know, the special relativity or so, I don't know which was the next one, you know, special relativity theory, or then they had to, of course, then they moved to the quantum, you know, quantum theories, and it's like you always have to morph it and move it and patch it, and it's never gonna be truth, because again it's a thing which exists as an effect in a world of effects, and it's constantly changing and moving and morphing, and it's just another effect in the world of effects. Even our theories are just ideas which are already just effects created by the same cause, uncreated, unmovable cause, which creates all the effects of the world, including the physical, including the mental, including the emotional, including our ideas, intuitions, visions, imaginations. So until we get really serious about wanting to know the truth and preparing ourselves to meet that truth in its entirety, with our entirety, we are just remaining at the level of monkeys, scratching our heads, pulling fleas from one another, playing. Basically, we are just playing pretend and playing with truth, playing with the ideas that we want to know the truth. It's just a play. We've just created another more, let's say, apparently smart game in which we think of ourselves as explorers or dabblers, you know, in truth. But either again we become truly serious with the seriousness of, you know, profundity, unspeakable profundity, unspeakable holiness towards the nature of reality, towards the nature of ourselves, towards the nature of everything, then we still remain caught in games. We still remain at the level of toddlers or children, which more likely prefer to play games than to become, you know, serious adults and members of that reality. There is a reality which awaits in each and every one of us. It is an unchangeable, unmovable, absolute truth which already exists within us and outside of us simultaneously in all and everything. And it is calling us home. It has been calling each and every one of us home since forever. It is always here for us. It has never abandoned us. And it is calling us moment by moment, second by second, day by day. And in the moment when we decide to turn our eyes again towards it, it is revealed that nothing changed. There was no going away from home. We never changed. We were never lost. And nothing changed. We are the same that we were. It's similar to how in the Hymn of the Pearl, when the main hero came back home, everything was the same. The mantle of glory was the same. Its kingdom was the same. Nothing is changed, and our true home is always here for us. It's just a matter of when our, let's say, our entire being gets fully done, it feels fully completed with this journey in this world of illusions, with this journey in this wilderness of this never world, this never land. Because this is the Neverland. Because this never happened, and it doesn't happen. Ever. We are in a Neverland where nothing happens, ever. It just appears to happen. And when our entire being has been, it's like being soaked completely. It's like, water pouring down, and your clothes and everything, they are fully soaked in water. When one gets fully soaked in this world of illusion, and it's just fully done, it's full with it, full of it, then that's when one is ready, truly ready to make the necessary internal, movement towards the home that is always here and never left us. And turn with the totality weight of oneself towards the truth, towards home, towards the true nature of reality. But until that completion is felt at our intimate core level, the completion of our entire journey in creation, the completion of our entire journey in this never land of illusions, until that completion is felt at the intimate core level, and it has to be 100% complete, we are never going to have the necessary determination and love, basically, for home, for the truth, for the true home, for the true reality, which is the absolute, unchanging truth. We are never going to have the necessary determination. We are always going to find excuses and find things to explain to us why we have to remain a bit more into this never land of illusions. We are always going to find a motivation to study something more, to experience something more, to do something more, to understand something more, when paradoxically all the understandings, all the knowledge, all the power, all the love, all the experience, everything exists in this absolute reality, which we still keep ourselves away from. So we say we are here in this world of illusions because we want to seek for love, for example, or to seek for completion, or to seek to understand who we are. But that's a lie, and we have to say it. this world of illusions is never going to reveal to us the truth. This world of illusions is never going to make us experience that true completion and true love. This world of illusion is never going to make us understand who we are. How can an illusion teach you which you are the real about you? Does an illusion ever comprehend what you are? Is an illusion ever able to contain within it even a portion of what you are, so it can give you to yourself back? What keeps us in this realm is just a pleasure. And we have to admit it. We just are enamored with games. We love to see ourselves small. We love our suffering. We love our pain. We love to play games, and this is our choice. And we have to become honest about it. There's nothing that keeps us away from the love that we say we seek. There's nothing that keeps us away from the knowledge of ourselves that we say I'm going into the world and I'm experiencing things so I can know myself. You already know yourself. You already have that knowledge. There's nothing in this world that keeps you away from that knowledge, and there's nothing in this world that is ever going to be able to give you that knowledge, and you know it very well. We say to ourselves, we just found these reasons like, oh yeah, I'm seeking for love, I'm seeking for self-knowledge, I'm seeking for these things, and this is my reason for why I have to be a bit more in this world of illusions, because this word has trapped my essence, and now I'm trying, like in the Gnostic, the Gnostic teachings, they tell you like, oh yeah, this world has trapped your spirit here, and now you have to liberate your spirit, you have to do this and this and this into the world, so you can get pieces of your spirit back, so you can put them together, so you can become whole again. And I'm telling you, man, that's a lie. It's a lie in the sense that it is a story. It could be a great story. You could live it, for sure. But is that the truth? I believe that's false. I believe that's a lie. And I believe we like lies. I believe we actually feel in love with lies. We like more the story of life rather than life itself. We are enamored with our stories, with our ability to create them, with our ability to experience them. And until one has completely soaked, as I said, in the experience of stories and feels completely completed with both creating stories and experiencing them, one is just going to continue to remain in the world of stories. And now in the world of stories, even this concept of the truth has been taken and implemented here, and it has been made a story out of it. Now we have the story of seeking for truth. Now we have the story of searching for completion. Everything has been added and created a story out of it. Now we have the story of, searching to know the nature of reality. We have created stories even out of our home, We have simulated notions from our home, and we have created stories out of them. Now we think we are searching for completion by, doing this or that or whatever in the world of effects. Now we think we are searching for love, in the world of effects. It's just another story that we tell ourselves so we can continue to enjoy the world of effects, because actually our heart has not had, it's not yet completed, hasn't yet had the fullness of experiencing the world of effects enough. So we just buy time. We just tell the reasons to ourselves. We just find another better, more plausible reason for why we have to continue to remain in the world of effects. Now, you read the Gnostics and you believe like, oh yeah, I think I'm the spark. Yeah, I think that's what happened to me. Now that I read it, I think, yeah, I remember it, man. It's like, yeah, because I always feel like there is this invisible thing in me, Oh, that might be the spark, yeah. oh, so I think I'm the spark which I'm caught in matter, and now I think I have to be here a bit more, yeah, because now I have to figure out all the the fractals of my spark which have been inserted in this realm, and now I have to meet with them, and I have to integrate them back within me. Now I have to meet with these people. Oh, sorry man, I can't. It's like I can't follow you home right now because my spark is still caught up here. I can't go home without my spark. I just go. I'll go with these folks for some time. I have to create some relationships with them, so we can understand, like retrieve my spark from them, and then give them their fractals from me, and then we have to figure out which is which, and I have to understand myself. I'm not ready to go back home, okay? And I'll just go a bit with these folks right here. So we just create stories, and this is what this world is going to continue to fabricate, just more reasons, just more stories. Right now is this story of spirituality, and you have to do this and this and this in the world so you can figure out who you are, and it's right now is this one, but 100, let's say, years from now, it might be a different story. It might be a galactic, oh, we have to discover, what type of star which exists at the center of our solar system, and in that star, not solar system, wait, the galactic, the galaxy at the center of the galaxy, and in that star, like that star contains in it the secret of all secrets, and that would reveal the truth. And I have to go and travel there, but now I have to raise this galactic force, and this fleet of ships, and I have to go there because I have to get to the star at the center of the galaxy, man. Yeah, you don't know how important the secret and the truth that is contained there. It's gonna change everything. it's gonna save us all, right? I have to do this for all. I'll build the fleet of ships, and who is with me? Who is here to come with me to the center of the galaxy, so we can find the most precious star, so we can retrieve the secret of all secrets, and we can liberate everybody. Who is with me? Yay! I, we are with you. Okay, cool, let's go. And they go, and they just create another story, It's just, this is why I'm saying it's never ending, man. It's just never ending. And now I was reminded, I reminded myself of that story of Isaac Asimov. I think it was called The Last Questions or so. It's like, some of you might know it, but it's really interesting. If you don't, I recommend reading that story, The Last Questions. It's just it just shows the perpetual storyline, how it perpetuates and changes, but it never ends. It's just a story that never ends. It just takes new and new shapes, new and new forms, similar to how energy is never created nor destroyed, only transformed. It's just, this story just transforms in something else, and it's as interesting, maybe each time it transforms in something else, it appears like something new. It caught our attention again and again and again, because it just changes form. It's the same old story. It's one singular story that is just repeated ad nauseam. So yeah, truth, when we are ready for truth and we feel completed, and this completion cannot be faked. That's it. It's just, you are either completed at the level of the heart or the soul, and you are just like that without your will. You cannot influence this completion. You cannot create it, nor it's just like that or not. But when one is in this state of completion, again, it cannot choose to. If this completion already exists within you, that's what you are. And you can try to fake that you still are interested in this world of illusion, but you cannot escape the truth within your heart. And if the truth within your heart is about completion, and you are completed with this reality at the level of the heart, your heart is completed, not you, but your heart is completed, then You have to listen to your heart, and you have to start taking things seriously. And this is the pathway home, to the true home. This is the pathway to the home that we never left from, and it never left us, and it's always here. This absolute, unchanging reality, existence, truth. When one is completely done with all the stories, all the narratives, all the searching, everything, then one is finally able to start its true journey back home. And here we are. I believe there are some beings in this reality which we are ready, and our hearts have always been ready for this journey back home. And I feel we are walking this journey with or without our will. And we are on this path together, and we are walking this journey together, and it is, from my experience, the most holy of holiest of experiences. It's unimaginable. It's like when you get to touch even 1%, even one hair of this truth, this reality, this absolute. It's like you can never ever go back. It's like nothing in this world, even one hair. Let's say if the truth would be a body, okay? If one hair if you manage to touch one single hair on the body of this truth, it's like all of a sudden the entire world of illusion is making no sense anymore. It's like, this is how it happened for me. Like when I've experienced the most, like the first time when I was aware that I've experienced truth and I was aware of it, it's like all of a sudden the next moment it's like everything in this reality felt like grayed out. It's like nothing in this world could ever match that realness, could ever match that purity, could ever match that truth, that love, that unexplainable. And I'm trying to deliberately, I keep myself from describing it because it should remain unspeakable. It should remain undescribable. So that's why I'm putting less words onto it. But once I tasted it and I experienced it fully with the entirety of myself, it's like all of a sudden nothing. I just instantly knew that it's nothing in this world, not even the pinnacle of human love, the pinnacle of human experiences in any way, shapes or form, not even, let's say, becoming like this, being able to go have these out of the body experiences, go into the astral, become become this multi-dimensional being, God, with endless powers of manifestation and creation. Not even that could match what I felt in that single simple moment of experiencing the truth with my entirety. But I haven't experienced the entirety of truth. I just experienced like just nothing in a way of it. It's just the tiniest, smallest, hair. And even that thing was, even that tiniest hair of truth is capable, it's like instantly it makes this entire cosmos with all of its possibilities on all levels, multi-dimensional levels, disappear like nothing instantly. Everything was grayed out. It's like woof. Nothing in an instant. I just knew that's the truth, and nothing here is ever going to match it. And what do I do from now on? How do I cultivate my internal being in such a way in which I can meet this truth more and more from one tiny thin hair in the body of that truth, perhaps to the a cell, or a patch of skin, or it's just how do I get more close to that truth? How do I approach it even more? How do I, abandon myself even more in it? How do I surrender myself even more to it? Because just that's it. The character is our offering that we are here to offer to the altar of truth. Our character here, our this self is what has to be given, surrendered into truth. So how do I give myself even more to it? And the word here just felt like nothing in the word matched it. And paradoxically, it can be found in anything in the word. It can be found in any of the effects. It is everywhere and nowhere. So it's everywhere and nowhere. So you can find it if you want to. It's so paradoxical. If you want, you can think you can just have, let's say, in the world of effects, you can have your normal life. It doesn't matter. If you are devoted to surrendering to this truth, you can do it in any setup, in any condition. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not necessary that you go on a mountain and meditate for 10 years. You can just be in the city, It doesn't matter. But it's like, what matters is the devotion and the absence or existence of that completion within one's heart, which cannot be faked. For me, it worked better, for example, to isolate myself from the word, because even though I experienced that truth, I was still like, the magnetism of the word was still making me like not give myself, still wanting the story, right? I still wanted the story. More of me is like the so much of me still was inertially caught in the story, right? And only a piece of me now just was like, oh man, how do I bring my entirety to this truth? Because now a piece of me, knew that this is my truth, this is my home, and I have to bring myself entirety to it, to this truth, to this absolute. But now the rest of me, so much of me was inertially caught by this word and its illusion. It was still magnetically caught. So for me it worked better, for example, to detach myself and to find this solace in an isolation from the word. And it worked. But if one has enough determination, I believe that this can be done in an instant, as I said, in an instant, whenever and wherever you are. Even if you are, let's say, after death, you can do it there. Even if you are here in the world of the living, the so-called living, let's say. You can do it here. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter when you are. You can still do it. But the thing is that, are we doing it? Are we coming truly home? And how much are we preparing our ground for this truth to meet us? Because if we are unable to do that true revelation in an instant, wherever and whenever we are, then that means that we have to take the journey of working towards preparing ourselves for this revelation. And the preparation means to be able to somehow detach our being from the pleasure of the stories. Because our being is, as I said, inertially, magnetically drawn to the stories. And because we are still drawn, many parts, say much of me, much of my awareness is still inserted in, if much of my awareness is still inserted in the stories, then I cannot bring the totality of myself to the truth. And if I'm not bringing the totality of myself to the truth, then I'm not in totality in truth. So I'm not home. Home is when I am 100% with the totality of myself in the totality of truth. That's home. So the idea here is just about surrendering. It's just how do I surrender myself to the truth? Because that's all that it takes. Just a matter of surrendering. How do I surrender myself to truth? How do I stop fighting against it? How do I put myself as the offering at the altar of truth? How do I prepare my ground so truth itself can come and meet me and reveal itself to me? Am I truly ready for it? Am I truly honestly ready? I think this is what all of us, we have to ask ourselves in this period, especially in this period, in this year 2024 right now. I feel this is the question. I think we have to sit with ourselves and evaluate honestly as we can. Where do I stand in this equation? We have to go within our hearts and evaluate how the readiness of our hearts. We have to see, am I still is my heart, is my soul still needing experiences in this world of illusions, in this world of stories? And if yes, I'm telling you, the best thing that you can do is just to admit it and to take it seriously and to devote yourself to the story, to the, let's say, world of illusions, and to have, let's say, your outermost experience. Just give yourself entirety to it. So you feel, you quicken the opportunity for that completion to happen. You have to give yourself entirety to the world of illusions. You have to leave them out entirety in a way. Because exactly as I said, that completion cannot be faked. You are either completed at the level of your heart with the story or you're not. And if you evaluate yourself and you find out like, man, I really love how this thing with truth sounds. I really love how home sounds. But it's like, if I would be honest, at the level of my heart, there is still, like, let's say I'm 51% still interested in the story and just 49% in the truth. Or maybe I'm 99% interested in the story. So I have to go with what already is a truth within my heart, I have to go and follow the stories. And you just understand that for yourself. And once that clarity is settled within you, I can tell you everything is going to be different in your life. The story itself is gonna respect you more. Is gonna the scripts in the stories, they are going to align with you more once you start respecting the story. And you understand that you're here for the story. Once you clarify your intents, everything clarifies in your life. By the way, this is a formula here. And I'll say it again. Once you clarify your intent, everything clarifies in your life. But you have to clarify. What clarification means here is just to recognize the intent which is already inscribed within you. And you cannot fake that intent. So all of us, we have a certain intent within us. And we just have to recognize that intent. This is what clarification means. You cannot create your intents. That's the thing. They are created for you, in you, as you. But you can recognize them. So when you look within and you recognize, like, man, yeah, I think I'm like 80% interested in the story, and I have 20%. I think there is 20% true interest in home and truth. But 80% of me is still interested in the world of stories, And once you clarify that and you know it, that's who you are. You've correctly clarified your identity. You've clarified who you are. And once you clarify who you are, the entirety of existence, both the story and the real, they are going to become, more clear in their relationship with you. Both the story is gonna respect you more, and the scripts in the story are gonna unfold more in the way you need from the story perspective, and the real is gonna know, like, he knows, she knows, she identified correctly, and that those 20%, the real is there for you, in those 20% that you've correctly identified. So it is really important, vital, actually, to correctly identify ourselves, to correctly identify the intent which is already existing within us. But let's say you might be going within, staying as much as you need, because it might take you one day to clarify and to recognize the true intent that exists within you, or it might take you months or years. Depends. You see, it depends. But I believe this year, exactly as I said, is important for clarifying this intent, recognizing the true intent that exists within us. So let's say you sit with yourself as much as needed, and now you find out, man, it's like, I think I'm still interested in the world of stories. For sure, there are things here that I haven't yet fully experienced, like, for example, that and that and that. I still feel the magnetism towards experiencing that and that and that in the world of stories, I still feel the magnetism. So I have to be honest about myself and to say, like, perhaps, let's say 20% I still feel interested in the world of story. Oh, for sure. I could lie, but in my heart, I feel the draw, the magnetic impulse to follow some of the stories. Maybe 20% I'm still here interested in the stories, but 80% of me, like, I can see, it's just obvious. 80% of me is just home. It's just nothing in this world, in a way, or so little from this world. It's still of interest, and that's a truth which I cannot change. It's the formula of my heart. And once that becomes clear to you, once that intent becomes clear to you, and yes, 20% you still have, let's say, business to do here in the world of illusions and things to experience, but 80% is about truth, true truth, home, the real, the absolute. Then it's clear, you've clarified your intent. Again, the stories are going to become more clear. What you have to experience here in reality is going to be offered more quickly. Once you accept it, once you accept yourself, once you accept your formula, the formula of your heart, the stories are going to clarify for you. The reality is going to clarify as well. So in those 80%, you are going to have unimaginable, let's say, encounters with the real. But the story here, 20%, is going to also clarify itself to you. And you are going to be given with the experiences that you truly need to satisfy that magnetism, to satisfy that thirst for stories, so you can complete those 20% left. So the story itself is gonna change, and it's gonna show itself more and more, let's say, in accurate forms to you. So, yeah, bottom line, this is how it really feels, that right now we are in a period of needing to clarify our intent. It's this year which feels, for some unexplainable reason, extremely significant from this perspective. This year is about taking a stance. It's like knowing what we are, clarifying the intent which already exists within our hearts, recognizing it. As I said, no one can create the intents that exist within us. They are planted in us as seeds. They are what we are, but they are given in a way. They are given. We cannot change them, we cannot create them. It is what it is. What we can do is to recognize or not recognize them. And when we don't recognize them, everything is murky, confusing, nothing plays out correctly. The story is confusing, the reality is confusing as well. So neither the story can know how to present itself to us, what to give us, because we haven't clarified our intent, nor the real knows how to meet us and how much it should reveal itself to us. So once we correctly recognize the intent that already exists within us, the true intent, the true will that already exists within us, then both the story and the real can now know how to meet us. So this year is about recognizing this intent that exists within us, clarifying it, and I would advise, like, for someone undescribable reason, just I feel to say this, like, I would advise that by the end of this year, like, make it, if nothing else this year, just nothing else, make it your priority this year to just use the months left this year just for this scope alone. Just clarify intent, your intent that exists within your heart. Just put yourself, your heart on the paper, let's say black on white, and invest the most amount, like all the time and energy that you can, to be able to make this recognition. And I can tell you from the entirety of myself, from the entirety of my being, that if you manage to clarify, to recognize the intent that already exists within you, then everything is gonna become clear in your reality. It's gonna become smoother. It's gonna play out the way you need. Reality, both the real and the story, they are gonna to meet you appropriately once you are able to define yourself appropriately. As much as we continue to live in a state of self-confusion and misidentification of our true intent, true will that exists within our hearts, this is how neither the story nor the reality is gonna, they know how to meet us. But once we become clear to ourselves and the pure true intent and the pure true will that already is within our hearts, it is recognized consciously, then both the story and the real, all of a sudden, they know how they are gonna be able to meet us correctly. Once we recognize ourselves correctly, both the story and the real, they are gonna be able to show themselves correctly to us, giving us what we need. When we recognize ourselves correctly, they recognize ourselves correctly. So this is what I feel that this year is highly important for. And I just feel, I don't know how to explain that, but I feel that it's like at the end of the 2024, it's gonna be like a bell, like bong, something ringing in the sky somehow. And it's really important that by the end of 2024, we make this recognition, we make this clarification of our intent, of our pure intent within our hearts. Recognizing this true will, knowing, in a way we could say, like knowing who we are by the end of 2024, but not in the sense of knowing the totality of what we are, just knowing who we are at the level of intent, knowing the intent of what our existence is about here in this moment, in this body here. How much of me needs the story, how much of me needs the real? I have to clarify this clearly. So this is the message for this recording. A longer one, I know. But this is the message. There is much to experience from now on. Both in the real and in the story, I guess. Or I would say, if I would be accurate, it's more in the real and less in the story. But nonetheless, there is much to live, much to be, much to experience. And as much as we are able to clarify and become known, become acquainted with the true will, true intent already existing within us, things are going to become finally in the entire, like finally in our existence, after all this time, they are gonna become clear. And we are gonna be given exactly those chances to live exactly what we have to live. There is gonna be zero more struggle, you know, around what we have to live. If we still have to live some experiences in this realm of stories and we can feel them by how much magnetically these experiences still seem to us, we are gonna be met exactly by the right experiences. The right experiences that we have to live. This is why if we manage to take this year to define what we need, what is already inscribed within us, again, we cannot create or fake that, then the story itself is gonna know what to provide for us. And it's gonna be provided in the best shape and form from 2025 onwards. But if we still remain in this murky water and we fail, let's say, in a way to recognize our true intent, I'll have to look into it, because I don't know what happens. Either we are just gonna be given a sort of like template intent, and reality is gonna, let's say, the story, both the story and the reality, they're gonna somehow treat us like in a certain way. They are just gonna decide, oh, he's looking more like that and like that, we will just treat him like that. If we don't clarify, they will clarify in a way. Something is gonna clarify, because by the end of 2024, everybody's gonna have, let's say, their stamp, is like their template put onto them. It's like, yeah, this girl, this guy is more like this. We will just continue to treat him like this. He didn't clarify its intent, so we will just put the template onto him, and we will just, give him this, because according with all of its energy and history and everything, it just kind of looks like this picture, and we are gonna treat him like this or her like this. But we can step into this process, as I said, and we can clarify this intent for ourselves. And if we clarify this intent, this becomes clear to the entire existence. And it's more easy, in a way, from 2025 onwards, for us to experience exactly what we need to experience, rather than continue to make trial and error, with experiences. It's gonna become more clear from 2025 onwards. We are gonna be given exactly what we need, exactly the experiences that our soul needs, and exactly the revelation that our heart needs as well. Because some of us, as I said, we are more, let's say, we might be 80% ready. We are 80% completed. Maybe 20% left here, or 10% left here, or even 5% left here. So we are more into our hearts rather than our soul. And because of this, we are gonna be given more and more revelations from 2025 onwards. Because revelations come to the heart, while experiences come to the soul. So the soul is the one that needs experiences, while the heart needs truth and revelation and reality. This is the difference between heart and soul. So yeah, I think it's clear. I think I've managed to portray what I was seeing. It was a sort of in the moment revelation, by the way, some of these things. And I'm gonna leave this recording to this. So 2024 is the year of recognizing the true intent that exists within us, clarifying what we are, who we are at the level of intent and true will. And from 2025 onwards, it's just gonna be both the manifestation and the experiences of what we truly need, if we manage to clarify that, and the revelations of truth for those which are here to experience this truth more and more, and the revelations more and more of the truth, of the absolute more and more. And yes, I still feel to say that we are here together, because this is how I feel. We are here together in all of this. The journey has just begun, man. The journey has just begun.